If you got tickets to tonight's game for the Arizona Coyotes finale, this show is for you. If you could not get tickets to tonight's game, this show is still for you. If you're trying to cope with the fact that the Arizona Coyotes are relocating to Salt Lake City next year, this show is still for you. This is Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, your number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I am your host, Robyn Leano, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I just want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. We're free and available everywhere you get your podcast. And those who've been listening every day for the last 3.5 years as I've covered Arizona Coyotes hockey, I thank you. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. For those that have been following the show and following me on social media, I don't plan on going anywhere. I plan on continuing to cover this team as they head on to Utah. But they're not talking about that today. We are talking right now about the game, the season finale, and just the overall finale for Arizona Coyotes hockey as we know right now, for the foreseeable future, at least. We don't know what's coming up years down the road. We're assuming we don't know any of that at this moment. Just for all intents and purposes, the finale for Arizona Coyotes hockey tonight as they play host to the Edmonton Oilers. And you heard me say at the beginning, if you got lucky to be able to get into tonight's game, because it is tickets have been wild. I checked over the weekend on I was around Saturday, Sunday. Standing room only tickets were going for well over $700. Some seated tickets for over $1,000. Some tickets are still sitting around that point, but standing room only has now maybe gone down to the low 500s, maybe even in the 400s range at this point. But tickets are still sky high, and for the right reasons, because it is the last opportunity many of us will get the opportunity to watch this team, watch NHL hockey be played in the state of Arizona. It is very indeed a wild thought for a lot of people. So many fans are going to be in attendance. You heard me talk about it over the last couple of days that there's even going to be a watch party outside on the patio area of Mold Arena, maybe even in the parking garage, anywhere around that Arizona State University campus. There could be upwards of an extra couple thousand people outside there. I don't know what the numbers are going to be outside the arena. But inside, we're expecting a full-on sellout with all the vibes we're looking at. And like I mentioned, the resale ticket price right now is through the roof. So if you got in and if you got your tickets early, you're lucky. If you right before the tickets skyrocketed, if you waited until now to get them, you're. As I joked around with a friend of mine, someone said they're going to the game, and I asked them, "Hey, did you take out a second mortgage for your house to get those tickets? Because they are expensive." They actually told me they got them beforehand when they were still like $200 a piece, which is still a lot for Mold Arena and for the team that they are playing, the Edmonton Oilers. It makes sense. It 100% makes sense that it's going to be at around it would have been around that price anyways. But it's this quote surge pricing, so to speak, because of the circumstances really makes that much of a difference. And like I mentioned, it's the Edmonton Oilers, so it's a huge game coming up. Against one of the better teams in the Western Conference, a good team in the Pacific Division. They got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. McDavid was not around for the last time these two teams played, and it was only less than a week ago. It was just before we entered the weekend when all this came in, all the news started to dump on us, so we didn't get a chance to really get a post game show for you guys. We actually really haven't been doing much post game or pre game shows for you guys at all, mainly because of the fact that we were all so shrouded in this mystery and all the news that we had to cover for you guys. So we're doing one now, in a sense, to sort of like rapid fire, telling you guys exactly what happened in this game to give you an understanding of how it's going to be going down. In this game against the Oilers, looks like Friday, I believe. Let me look at last Friday. 5:20 into of the first period, Josh Doan gets his fourth goal of his season, assisted by Jack McBain and Matthias Michelli, who Michelli got his 40th, looks like his 40th assist at that point. Second period at 1:49, Adam Henwick brings it back tied for the Edmonton Oilers. Cisco Evander Kane and Troy Stetcher. You guys recognize that name as he spent so much time with the Coyotes overall this season before the trade deadline come into place. At 5:37, Logan Cooley, once again, another rookie, getting his 20th goal of the season, assist to the Nick Schmaltz and Sean Dursey. Third period, going into the third period, Darnell Nurse brings it back tied once again at 1:12 into the third period. Cisco to Warren Fogle and Evander Kane. So no score going at and ending after the regulation. So it's a 2-2 tie going and forcing overtime. And at this point, I think a lot of fans are just getting their hearts going racing, because Coyotes hockey, it's always going to be like that. Going into OT at 1:35, just 1:35 into the overtime period, Matthias Michelli getting his 15th of the season, assisted by Michael Kessering and Josh Doan. If you look at it, once again, meeting the three players who got goals, Josh Doan, Logan Cooley, and Matthias Michelli, the young kids are all right. They are making a huge difference in this game for the Coyotes to end this season. They're riding high. They're doing what they can to make sure Coyotes hockey can stay exciting until the end of this season, especially with the finale coming up tonight against this same Oilers team. The last game against the Oilers didn't have Connor McDavid. I mentioned that. They did not have Connor McDavid. Cannot confirm if he's going to be playing tonight at all. Maybe they might rest him or not. But be prepared for him to show up. McDavid and Draisaitl have always been a very lethal pair for the Edmonton Oilers, so they're going to need to be able to contain that. We need to talk about that a little bit in our keys to the game coming up right after this. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. I know that all you guys are trying to have a frustrating experience when it comes to buying tickets, whether you're going on other ticketing apps and you see that you get all of a sudden these crazy fees, or you find a ticket that has an obstructed view, it ends up being a bad deal. It's just in general, just not a good experience when it comes to buying tickets. Game Time is out to fix that when it comes to finding your tickets to any kind of event, for whether it's a MLB game for this for this MLB season for you Diamondbacks fans out there, or whether it's a concert or a comedy show or anything like that. Heck, or even tonight's Arizona Coyotes Edmonton Oilers game. You can be able to look at the kind of areas you're looking for. They have last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and buy MLB tickets for all kinds of events in your area. And you could even see the views from your seats, so you're able to know exactly what you're going to get before you buy the ticket. They got a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. My absolute favorite thing is they're all in pricing, where you can toggle that feature that shows the total upfront that includes the fees, so you're not going to be surprised by whatever you're by those fees when you get that check out. So I really highly recommend Game Time. I've been using Game Time actually to monitor the ticket prices for tonight's game, Edmonton Oilers at Arizona Coyotes. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Let's continue on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. Get some of the expectations of going in. I mentioned, I cannot confirm whether or not Connor McDavid is going to be playing today, but like I said, let's expect it either way. It is, going to be a high emotion game. Maybe get ready as the Oilers get ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Obviously, we know the Coyotes aren't going to the playoffs. They have they had that really long losing streak back in earlier this year that really just knocked them completely out of the playoff running. But we knew that going in. We knew they were going to be they were only going to be a bubble team for a while and then kind of just shoot down to the bottom. But anyways, expect that. You got to look at those keys to the game. You got to shut down those two players specifically. There are more than that. I'm not saying. I got some of the players I mentioned earlier, like Darnell Nurse or Adam Henrique, that those players are not going to make a difference. Same thing I can say about for maybe like Evander Kane. I didn't see the injury report, so I'm not sure how many players are going to be in or out. But expect a really tough team. The Oilers have been good pretty for a good part of the season, with the exception of the beginning of the season, we kind of made jokes of how bad they were, but they really caught up. They really became a really good NHL team, and they're riding high. They want to be able to, prove that they belong in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they're not just a fluke again, as has been the story for them for the last few years. So contain the top guys. Please just contain the top guys. I think another thing I really want to say as a really good expectation, something they really need to look forward to in this game is, and it's going to be on the keys of the game. I'm going to be posting it on social media, is keep the young guys hot. I mentioned in the scoring summary for their last game, they played against each other last week, the players that got it, and Josh Doan, Logan Cooley, Matthias Maccelli. And just beyond that, other players have made an impact in the last few games alone, including Dylan Guenther. Those players are going to make a huge difference. I talked about some of those players. Mine essentially looking at it, Doan, Guenther, and a few others are going to make a huge impact when it comes to the Tucson Roadrunners for the Calder Cup playoffs coming up. So expect them to ride high and do what they can to stay hot. And, prove that they belong in the NHL still, regardless of whether or not they're going to get sent down in just about, 24 to 48 hours time after they, rejoin the Tucson Roadrunners ahead of their season finale hosting against, season finale hosting against the San Jose Barracuda coming up at the end of this week. But you have to pay attention to the young guys, because they are the ones making an impact right now. And I'm not saying Clayton Keller, Nick Schmaltz, and the other core guys are not. They are. They are a huge part for this Arizona Coyotes team. And I think especially with a game like today coming up, that they will definitely be players to look out for. But these young players are the future of the franchise. And I know there are some of you guys, I'm not saying all, some of you guys have told me you guys are going to follow this team to Utah. Some said you're not. But these young guys, they are going to be a future of that team. And if you're going to be a fan of that team, you got to be excited for that. Otherwise, hey, you could be a fan of these players. You can still be a fan of these players because they're just looking fantastic. Really, indeed, fantastic. And I think last and foremost, one of the biggest things that I want to see from this Arizona Coyotes team is play it for the fans. I'm not saying, let your emotions get the best of you, because I think that's what will be the negative. If you talked about, one of the things you can talk about as a point to this, how it can affect in the negative, is when It was actually said on a pregame show on the Scripps Sports TV broadcast for the Arizona Coyotes, where they talked to Andre Tourné about, the adversity that the team is facing and all the news when it comes to the relocation to Salt Lake City. And they said that when they first heard the rumors, just rumors at the time, back in like January around the All-Star break, that's when they hit that 14-game losing streak. Like that was not like, you don't want that. That's not the kind of thing I'm saying. When it says play with emotion, do it for the fans. A lot of these fans are here so they can experience one last Arizona Coyotes game. And one thing I can point to is the absolute chaos and the fun that so many people had for the Coyotes last game when they were at Gila River Arena, the very last game of Gila River Arena before they moved into Muller Arena. I want to say, get to that kind of energy and go like tenfold or whatever it might be. I want to see an all-out battle, a team that looks like once again that they could be a Stanley Cup playoff team. Not necessarily a Stanley Cup team, but a Stanley Cup playoff team. Am I asking for too much? Maybe. But for this, if you're an Arizona Coyotes fan, maybe you're saying no. You're not asking for too much. I want to see this Arizona Coyotes team go out with a bang in my last opportunity to watch them on the ice. And if you're an Arizona Coyotes feeling that way, let me know. If you're not, if you think I'm wrong and say that and say that it doesn't matter what how they play, you just want to see them play or whatever it might be, let me know. I kind of want to hear all your thoughts about this. But to me, I want to see that. I want to see the energy. I want to see the emotion from the fans, seeing that they're able to see an amazing win for them to go out, for the Coyotes to go out on a win, and for the fans to be emotional and really feel that they got a chance to feel, at least closure's not the word I'm looking for, but maybe something like that. Around along the lines of that, along the line of closure, that they got a chance to see it, and in holding a memory like that for the rest of their lives. And once again, I'm not saying that there's not going to be any Arizona Coyotes hockey or NHL hockey coming down in the future. We talked about at the very least, starting next season, very likely the Tucson Roadrunners moving up here to the Phoenix metropolitan area, playing in the Muller Arena as early as next season. Don't know what the future past that looks like, but at least you have another year, maybe 2 years of that going down. And then 3, 4 years, 5 years down the road, the Arizona Coyotes or whatever NHL Arizona team comes into fruition as the expansion draft once again gets initiated. If everything goes right, then you're able to bring it back. You're able to kind of bring all that back. But like I said, you don't want to hold out on that and say, I'm going to go because of it, because I'm not going to go, I'm not going to feel this emotional because I know it's going to happen in the future. You don't know that. None of us absolutely know that that's a guarantee. And I feel like that's why everyone's feeling that the way. It could be 3 years, could be 4 years, could be 5 years. Or you could be like the Winnipeg Jets, or with the Winnipeg City after they lost the Jets 1.0 to, over here in the Phoenix area, waiting 15 years until the Winnipeg Jets returned. Am I saying that you're going to have to wait that long? No, but I'm just saying everyone's going to be prepared. We don't know everything at this point. Am I going to try to do my best to make sure a lot of you guys know maybe anything that's up to date? Yeah, sure. I'll even try to do the best that I can as an Arizona reporter, even once I start covering the Utah team and become Locked On Utah Hockey or whatever team name pending it will become. But that's down the road. I'm not looking forward to I'm not looking at that right now. I'm looking at the now. looking at Locked On Coyotes, the Arizona Coyotes, and tonight, once again, Arizona Coyotes versus Edmonton Oilers. I believe that start time is around 6 p.m. local time. So it's going to be crazy. And if you have the tickets, you are in luck. If you don't, like I said, there's a watch party outside if you are in the Phoenix metropolitan area. And if you don't want to wait outside, I'm pretty sure you can be at a bar nearby or do whatever. The area around in Tempe tonight is surely going to be a crazy one. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take right after taking a look at our sponsors. I'm going to talk a little bit to you guys about the odds and see where do you think that I am going to take my picks for the game. So we're going to do that right after this. And today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Guys, I need you guys to all listen up to this huge announcement. I have been tracking the leaderboards every day, keeping my eye on the scores, putting all my heart into it, and I'm super pumped to announce I'm finally on top. And that's right, I'm talking about the hit mobile game Monopoly Go. You've probably heard about it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great mobile twist, the classic Monopoly that you can play anywhere, anytime. You explore hundreds of Monopoly boards from Las Vegas to Camelot to the moon, and all while racking in a huge fortune. Charge rent on iconic properties, just like the classic Monopoly. You can charge your friends rent on those iconic properties, or go after their Monopoly money by pulling bank heists and taking wrecking balls to their landmarks. But my favorite part is the leaderboards, where you can see who's a Monopoly tycoon and who's gone bankrupt. So you can get yourself on the charts. Download Monopoly Go for free on the App Store and Google Play. It's now time for my favorite segment here on Locked On Coyotes. Once again, I am your host, Robyn Leano. Still want to thank everyone for making this show your first listen every day. I do want to let you guys also know that Locked On NFL's Mock Draft Live is tonight, April 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, streaming on Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Find the Ultimate 6-episode series on April 17th at, once again, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where you can hear the local Locked On experts are picking for every NFL franchise, including your Arizona Cardinals, with live reactions from local college football experts and even fantasy football angle. Locked On NFL Mock Draft, once again, April 17th, that's tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, streaming live on Locked On Sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. But then back here on Locked On Coyotes, though, let's take a look at the odds for tonight's game. Arizona Coyotes versus Edmonton Oilers, where the Arizona Coyotes are once again underdogs at a plus 168 money line. Only by a point and a half, though. It's a point and a half spread. With the Oilers at minus 205. So pretty heavily favored the Oilers are. No surprise knowing where they are in the standings and who they have at the helm. Total points is at 6.5. It's it's really interesting that I don't have someone to bounce back their thoughts about it and have their picks. I always love teasing them. None of the no one that I've had on has been as much of a betting person as I have been. I don't necessarily bet all the time, by the way. I don't do it. And I highly recommend that you guys, if you are gambling and we are betting on these, to do it responsibly. If you feel like you do have a problem, there are gambling hotlines in place for you guys to reach out to. But just please gamble responsibly. But taking a look at those I love giving you my thoughts and how I think it might go down, because I think I like to think I have good insight for you guys. I really do. So that said, I'm gonna take a little hit on it. And once again, if I bring up the graphic once again, I don't care if you call me crazy or you think things are going to go, you could very well turn sideways or whatever it might be. I am that's like the joke that I like to say. I love being an agent of chaos. I believe that chaos is the best thing. And I'm not saying the Oilers can be a victim of chaos in this sense, but I mean, come on. Who just doesn't want to see just chaos reign in any kind of way? Whether it's just, the way the Coyotes win tonight or not. And I'm going to put the bet on that. Say Coyotes, take that money line bet at plus 168. And I'm maybe going to go a little step further. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over on that. Let me go ahead and take that graphic apart. But that's not it. I think there are a lot of different ways you guys can make bets on this. I trying to think. Maybe I can put in a bet for anytime goal scorer. Here's a good one. Anytime goal scorer. I'm going to go ahead and give it once again to Josh Doan. I have to give it. You know what? Yes, I'm going to do it. I was debating on it. Anytime goal scorer to Josh Doan. What a perfect way to end the era of Arizona Coyotes hockey, where it began with Shane Doan and it ends with Josh Doan. That's the way. That is a storybook ending right there, and I just don't see it going anyway. So I think that is my perfect prop bet, as Josh Doan scores a goal, as in the Arizona Coyotes take this win with the over that 6.5. I'm going to say final score in this game for my prediction. Oh, God. I'm going to make it 5-4. 5-4 Arizona. And you know what? I'm gonna mirror the very last game that they played against each other, but with a higher scoring on this one, going in overtime. And you know what? I'll just leave it at that. Josh Doan, anytime goal scorer, though. You can maybe make your predictions on exactly which goal that one might be. That's for you guys, though. That's for you guys, what you guys think he might score in that within that within that score that I predicted. Is it gonna happen? I mean, probably not. But I love these exercises because it makes it fun. It's a fun exercise because you guys can do it too. You download the FanDuel app and make your account, and you can easily do it. And make some fun out of it. Just have some fun, absolute fun, for this Arizona Coyotes team as they finish their era in Arizona from 1996 to 2024. A lot of you guys have been fans this entire time, and if you have, props to you guys. You know what I want to do, though, is I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm probably tonight, I'm going to be talking to a lot of you guys. I'm going to be kind of around the stadium, maybe asking you guys some stuff. If you find me, feel free to tap me on the shoulder. Say you like to share this memory with me. I'll be more than happy to listen to you guys. I mentioned earlier, if you want to do it on video, feel free to. I'll have a couple cameras with me to catalog those thoughts, and I might even put it on a future episode of the show, or put it on social media on our Twitter channel, or X as what it is, at LO_Coyotes, or for me at Robyn_Leano. I want to see it. I want to see what you guys have, because I think there's a lot of different thoughts you can really put onto it. So let me know, and like I said, if you're there, I'll see you guys, or you guys might see me before I see you, because I might be busy, kind of almost tunnel vision, so to speak. Well, a lot of us will have a lot of things that we'll be doing that day. Emotions will be running high everywhere. And if you want a hug, I might offer one. But like what Matthew said, you should ask first. But don't worry about it. I'm very friendly. If you're there, though, don't worry about it. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for today's episode of Locked On Coyotes. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you have yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube, SiriusXM, and ad-free on Amazon Music. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes. and on X at LO_Coyotes. Once again, I am at Robyn_Leano. This is ROBYN_LEANO. You can interact with me, ask me any question you might have. I'll answer right back or in a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys staying safe out there. Hope you guys staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.